Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another video of the 100 days to CLAT series. This is day 23 away from the CLAT exam. So this is basically a 100-day series till the CLAT exam, and we are at day 23. In this video I would be discussing quite a few things. I would be discussing how my mock 53 of LPT went, and a very important thing will also be discussed, and that is what is my predictions for the final CLAT. How is the CLAT going to be? What am I predicting? And I've also uploaded the important vocabulary sheet on the Telegram channel, so you guys can also get that from there. So without further ado, let us start. I did the 30 minutes test, the GK Fiestas, and then 4 hours 30 minutes Express October. I've completed it almost, only 5-6 pages are left, so I'm really proud of myself कि कर दिया है एक ही दिन में. And then mock followed by analysis, 4 hours over there. Maybe I could have done this in 3 hours 30 minutes, but yeah. Then 30 minutes for vocabulary, clocked in around 9 hours 30 minutes. I mean, it is better than yesterday, but I felt very exhausted after doing this 9 hours 30 minutes. I mean, I'm hitting that peak performance wala level यहाँ पर I cannot go more, so maybe I need to re-optimize my strategy a bit. Now let us, okay, this is the important vocabulary words. You guys can take a screenshot of it. From now on, you guys can take that sheet, and from now on just take the screenshots of the latest ones. There will probably be one or two more vocabulary days, and then we'll stop doing more vocabulary things. And then let us discuss the mock 53 first, then we'll go there. So how was the mock 53 LPT? English, if you haven't given the mock 53, I would really suggest to at least give the English section because passages were really good. The passage reading were from really diverse genres. They were mostly from literature, so the passages were a must read, and even the inference weren't very easy. You should have spent quite some time to get the answers, and they were exceptionally well crafted. Overall, English section is a 5-star section. I really would recommend you to guys give this. There weren't any tones vocabulary type of questions. They were generally only inference type of questions, but they were good. And yeah, I scored good in English as well. And then comes GK. GK is something which I would say was a bit difficult, more than difficult. I would say GK hard thi because the questions were not mentioned in their CLAT post or the Express, so the questions difficulty was very high, but more or less the topics were quite important. And GK का उतना ही बोलूँगा. There isn't much for me to say on GK. It was overall a hard thing GK में. And then comes the most heartbreaking section, which was legal. Legal में I will say my score. I scored around 19.5 after seeing recalculating. At first I thought it was 20.75, but it is 19.5. I got 10 questions wrong, and I'm actually very terrified after seeing my score. Then I went to the Reddit and read about a few things on this mock, how much of people scored, and I've seen a lot of people getting in this range only, 19 to 20 wala range. Then I realized maybe the mock was very difficult, but I do believe I could have at least scored 23, 24 in this. This was a hard mock, but it wasn't as hard as for me to get a 20. So maybe legal is somewhere, some area where I have to work upon. And I've also heard the advanced mock legal is very hard, so I would probably give that to improve my legal reasoning. The questions were a bit too far-fetched, and they were very diverse questions. There were a lot of subjectivity in questions as well. But yeah, again, this could very well happen in the CLAT as well, so maybe we need to be prepared for that. So I would give few legal sectionals from LPT in order to improve on this. And then comes logical. Logical, maybe the must given section if you haven't given this mock is the AR. The AR ka 4 questions, 4 to 6 questions I guess. The last two were easy, but the 4 questions were absolutely beautiful. Like, I mean, I haven't seen those types of questions generally asked in the legal age mocks or even in any mocks. The questions were really nice. They were more of puzzle type of questions. I got almost all, yes, I have gotten 1 or 2 questions wrong in AR, it was really well crafted question, so AR a must give. And coming to the CR part, CR was more or less, I would say, easy to moderate. There wasn't any much of difficulty in terms of passages. The passages were quite readable, but there were few questions jahan par you have to imply a more of your brain. That is where I've made a lot of learnings as well, wherein I'm assuming too much rather than assuming just what directly is given in the passage. And then quants was probably the easiest section out of all this, and it was very short, crisp section. I did it around in 12 minutes. 11 questions I did around 12 minutes में. So overall, it was a good mock for me. But the only thing that did not go as per my plan was legal. So I have to work on this aspect, legal aspect. So now let us discuss the learnings. Then I would say my predictions on the CLAT 2026. Okay, so there was this line. What does okay? There was this line counterpoint ka something related. So counterpoint can also be something which is going against the author or something which is going with the idea of author. So I mean, it sounds too absurd of a thing, but I've researched about this word for quite some time on Google, and I've found कि analytical logical reasoning में they use counterpoint as a way to say something that is similar. I mean, that sounds too absurd, but it is what it is. And realized how important the first passage is. Legal में the first passage I chose, उधर में I got like 4 questions wrong, and that is where I took a lot of time as well. Maybe the questions were quite subjective and hard, but the first passage is quite important to pick. और जो भी first passage लोगे आप, that would decide how your trajectory for the rest of the section goes. So first passage के लिए you have to spend some time to pick the right passage the first. When in doubt, read the last line. This is a statement which I have been saying over and over, but my stupid brain doesn't realize how important of a statement this is. The last 2 lines में ही आंसर मिल जाएगा आपको लीगल में, and I have not been focusing that much on that aspect. So this is the thing which I would do for the advanced mock, and I'll apply this over there. And use mind mapping in all the time. Mind mapping is basically having all the ideas in your brain when you're reading those passages. Rather than just reading, you have to also mind map it. It would take around 30 seconds more, but it would be worth it. I do this for logical reading, and it has helped me quite a lot. Then advanced mock legal, yes. Change in reasoning. Okay, in LE and LPT I felt there was a bit of changing in reasoning, especially in the legal section. There was a bit of changes in the legal reasoning. So maybe I need to give a bit of more LPT mocks in order to get away from the LE's reasoning, so that I have a well versed reasoning. I would say not I won't be accustomed to just one coaching and making other assumption in an assumption. So what does this means is, generally, see, this is premise, this is conclusion, this is an assumption. We have to find out this, but what I'm doing is I'm finding out this. Yes, I'm finding out this. What does that mean is, in order for my assumption to be true, I'm assuming something else that has to be true. So I mean, it sounds a bit absurd. I'm not able to explain it. I'm a bit inarticulate about it, but I get it. That is the learning. Now let us come to the most awaited part, that is the predictions. A person asked me about the prediction about the CLAT, and I straight up said no, I'm not giving any predictions. The reason being, you actually do not know anything what is going to happen. The CLAT might create a wonderful paper, or the CLAT might be as stupid as they were last year and create wrong questions again. We do not know, but many people are saying that they would create a good enough paper, so that they save their reputation. But I don't think that might happen, because they might also think if they create a wrong paper again, they would be simply replaced by NTA. उनका सारा load NTA पर चल जाएगा, and they wouldn't be liable or responsible for anything. So they might do that as well. So what happens when you are making predictions? This has happened for me in GK, wherein last year I made a lot of predictions about GK, and when I saw passages में ही सब कुछ है GK का, I was terrified, I was petrified. I don't even have words to say. I've studied so much for GK, and you're giving everything in the passages itself. that made me flabbergasted. काफ़ी ज़्यादा नए vocabulary words सीख लिए हैं, so वही यूज़ कर रहा हूँ. That made me very mad. So that madness also affected my performance in the paper. Now if you make an assumption कि इस साल ठीक आएगा paper, इस साल correct आएगा paper, and they again make that same mistake in the analytical reasoning wherein they give a wrong set. You're solving analytical reasoning, you're solving, but आपको answer जब नहीं आएगा, then you will lose your mind in the paper. You will absolutely mess up your paper. So have no predictions about it, because your brain will start to believe that this is how the paper is going to come, and when things don't go your way, you would be mad. So yeah, that is what I have to say. I hope you guys have learned a thing or two from this video. Bye.